Ehab, the
Hey,
mighty Ehab, you have been absent from the uncensored Arsenal for a couple of weeks, my friend. I've
yeah,
missed you. Where have
yeah,
you
it's been
been?
busy. It has been busy work-wise, actually. I've had a bad couple of weeks. Not a bad, like I've been traveling and I had been handing some projects, so
Yes,
been a
well,
little
you
bit
know,
busy.
you stop scouting and you got start to just become an entrepreneur and you're traveling the world. Only thing now you're not living out of the boot of your car. You're not
Yeah.
you're not on some old muddy pitch identifying future talent. Some dust
No.
bowl somewhere in Africa or in the Caribbean. I played on some dust bowl. But that enough about us, Ehab. I wanted you because it's very topical this week. In England, they had a big event for Wenger. Um, I love what they did. I think it was a premiere of the movie, but they had a big event called Wenger and Dein, and I love that. You
Mhm.
know why I love that? Because by the two men are instrumental in the modern Arsenal, and there are people who would have, if it was solely about Wenger, they would have put him down, just like how Lee Dixon was trying to set him against Graham, which is you probably saw my comment on Twitter.
Yeah.
But the important thing to me, and just this big setup and introduction to the audience, is that this involved nothing to do with official Arsenal. In
Hmm.
fact, what I've noticed is that official Arsenal has been trying to ambush market this event. And if you go onto the .com, they are behind this. There's a behind the scenes clip, but they had nothing to do with the event. But Arteta and company are trying to take credit for whatever went down this week. Did you notice that, my friend?
Yeah, they had nothing to do with the event. The official had nothing to do with the event. I thought it's actually something class that Arteta showed up at the opening. I think he should have showed up at the Wenger Dean thing, but he didn't. And you never know what these guys have. He's a manager of a football club. He has his own life. He couldn't make it that night, but he made it to the opening,
Yes.
and he talked fondly about Wenger. And I think this is a class move. I think this is what Mikel wanted to do. And Mikel is not. Mikel is always going to carry the agenda of his employers, which is the club. So
Right.
he will always try to include the club in everything. He's not gonna say, "Okay, I'm here on myself by myself. Nobody told me to come." If they ask him about the club, oh, he's always welcome back. He's always welcome to come back. We
Yes.
made a poster. I have noticed throughout the past few weeks that they have tried to link themselves with Wenger more than before. I don't know where this came from, to be honest. Maybe maybe now that they are winning, they want to make the comparison a little bit different. They wanna show, okay, now we see do not need Wenger to win, and now it's easier for them to say that. I honestly, this is going to be a lot of speculation as we talk about it, but um, I think the way they handled it should have been more official. They should have been up front and center. They should have said, okay, if he's coming to London, if he's opening this thing, if he's launching this, if he's premiering his movie, we want to show it. We want to have it at Arsenal. We want to give some to season ticket holders. We want him to come to the Emirates and have at least a photo session or have an interview at the Emirates, just to show that there's, like, at least in front of everybody else, that this guy is still linked with the club. So I don't know. They try to distance themselves. I give credit to Mikel Arteta that he went there and he talked about this nicely, and this is the only good thing that they have gone through. This is the only good thing that they have done.
Well, you have that's funny because I saw the Jeff Shree's interview
Hmm.
with Josh Kroenke. the last 2 weeks, there has been a massive PR campaign taking advantage. At that time, it was a 9 game unbeaten. Now it's 10.
Yeah.
And Josh mentioned we have a tradition of winning and of high standards. And I'm quote. This is somewhat of a quote. He said we have a tradition of high standards and a tradition of winning that goes back to Wenger days. So there it they you have some you're making a very good point there. They can't ignore that the tradition of winning and the tradition of participating in the Champions League
Yeah.
has to do with Arsene Wenger. And it struck me because Josh Kroenke, since Wenger left, hardly ever mentions the boss's name. I still call him the boss.
Yeah, he actually. I think if I'm gonna speculate, I think that Josh was a big part why Arsenal left. We all know that Arsenal had a full control of Arsenal, especially after the loan that we wanted to build the stadium.
Mhm.
And I understand that if I want to build the stadium, if you want me, if you want to tie me up, I think Wenger was 55 when we took the loan, or 57 when we took the loan. Tying him up until you pay off this loan means basically he's going to spend the rest of his life at Arsenal.
At
And
least
this
10
is,
years.
yeah, this is not an easy thing to commit to anybody. So he has to at least get something in return. And if you want me to waste my life at Arsenal, then I need to be in control of this. I'm not going to waste my life and live somebody else's vision. Just I'm not gonna just come here and listen to people trying out their football knowledge. I don't need anybody to give me football knowledge. I've already proven myself. I've won you 8 trophies, or plus community shields in 8 years. I've gone invincible. I've had a higher winning percentage than anybody in history of Arsenal. So you should trust me at least. And they did. They trusted him with that. And this is actually Stan who did this, and David Dean, and the other owners, because it wasn't only Stan back then.
No,
And
you are you sure that Stan? I mean, initially Stan wasn't there. He was on the fringes. Past, I
yeah,
think he was just trying to get into the
no, I'm
broadcasting
not saying
business.
the day that he wanted full control. It's Stan giving him full control throughout the years. This is what
You're
I'm
right,
saying.
correct, right.
Yeah,
Between him and Usmanov. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, because he was yeah, because they were okay with that. Even Usmanov,
Yes,
when we couldn't buy players in the summer, and Usmanov wrote that letter, if you
yes,
remember it, that his thing was, he didn't say let's get rid of the manager. We are in an age where we see managers get sacked after 4 and 10 games and
yes.
6 games,
Mhm.
and the minority owner of the team did not call for the manager's head. He called for the owner's head.
Correct. The
Yeah, which
majority owner's head.
yeah, he said, yeah, we know we need the majority owner to go away. Of course, he had his own business interests. He wanted to own Arsenal, but he wanted Stan to go away, and he knew if he called for Wenger's head, he was going to be voted out. It was the kiss of death if he wanted to do that. But anyway, Stan didn't sell. He was the majority owner. He was so hard to push out, and at the end, this Usmanov gave up and went to Everton with the Mushiri.
Mhm.
Now they gave him the control, and he's done. I'm gonna say this: he's done great, given the money that he was never given.
Negative net spend.
Yeah,
Remember that for
negative
most of the
net
years
spend.
up to 2017, a negative net spend.
Yep. But if I was Josh, I come in. My mom owns 25% of the biggest retail company, the second biggest retail company in the world, which is Walmart.
Mhm.
Uh, my dad owns three teams. Josh has already been the manager of an NBA franchise
The Nuggets.
and a National Hockey League franchise, which is the in Denver, where they are from, and in Colorado and U.S.
Colorado
and
Rockies, I think, right?
the Avalanche
The
and the
Avalanche.
Nuggets, the Denver
What
Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche,
what is the
and
Rockies? The Rockies are
the
what?
Rockies are baseball team.
Oh, sorry about that, guys. That's that's my knowledge of American sports.
That's okay. I don't think anybody who watches this is going to be that interested in American sports, especially hockey and baseball.
Yes,
And he was already the guy who manages both of those. I think he won the hockey league a couple of times, but the Denver Nuggets have been in a bad position. The Denver Nuggets did not improve up until last season or the season before, and I was really happy when my Phoenix Suns beat them up in the playoffs
yes.
because this means this billionaire brat could just fuck off. And that's it. He already at I don't know how old Josh was. He's in his 30s. He already owns this. He's worth a lot of money, and he's going to go to Arsenal, which is by far the biggest club that they own, because Arsenal is not just in England or in London or in Europe. Arsenal is worldwide. It has the biggest following, and it's
Well,
history.
coincidentally, I just interrupt you there. But in Josh's interview,
Yeah.
with Jeff Shreves on Sky Sports,
Mhm.
over a week ago, he emphasized that Arsenal is the biggest brand in their portfolio because of the global reach of the club. He said that,
Yeah,
literally said that. Keep going there,
exactly.
Ehab.
Exactly. It has saved someone like Roman Abramovich from Vladimir Putin, because he has a lot of work with Vladimir Putin. And if anything today happens to Roman Abramovich, uh, we are all going to hear about it. If
Yes.
Putin decides to get rid of Abramovich, the whole world will turn. There will be consequences upon consequences and everything. But because this is a well-known man. It's like killing the Pope.
Because it's a global brand, because Chelsea is a global brand.
Exactly. This is why a small country like Qatar or Saudi, not Saudi Arabia, or
Abu Dhabi.
United Arab Emirates, Abu
Yes.
Dhabi would buy Manchester City because they want this will give them the recognition that spending hundreds of billions of dollars will not. And so that's what they try. This is what they decided to do. He comes in and he sees this big club and it's run by this 70-year-old guy, and nobody can talk to him. And you imagine somebody like Josh. I don't think anybody has ever told this kid no in his life. Who would dare? I mean, his mom and dad are both multi-billionaires, and he gets whatever he wants. And he doesn't like. He wants his team to be as big as United, or Liverpool, or something like that. So. Um they decide that they want Wenger gone, especially after the two bad seasons that we had at the end of Wenger. And nobody even bothered to understand what was the problem back then. They just, there was Wenger in and Wenger out, and these, Luton scum fan TV that there were these people who wanted he wanted him out, and it was all over. And, by the time they sat down and had the discussion, Wenger was out. And of course, he's not gonna leave happy because there's something that Wenger always said. He said, "I always fulfill my contracts."
And that is an
And
important point there, Ehab, because they gave him a 2-year renewal in 2017. Is
yes,
2017?
and yeah, they
2017.
gave it. It was actually supposed to start the year he left.
See what I'm saying?
Yes,
And they pushed him out. And if anybody remembers, we're speculating here, but we're trying to understand why Wenger refuses to have anything to do with them. Because they begged him to stay. They gave him a 3-year, it was 3 or 2-year
a
contract.
3-year contract until 2020, I think, and he left in 2018.
See
And
what I'm saying?
it's actually, this is the thing.
Mhm.
They gave him a contract till 2020, and they thought, okay, it's gonna extend. And people were saying 4 more years, like give him
Yes,
2021 or 22.
yes.
And there are people who got really angry when they renewed his contract. And
Oh yeah.
Wenger always said,
The
"I put too
scum,
much."
the scum got angry. I
Yes,
remember that. The
yeah,
scum
yeah,
in our fan base got angry. But the
of course, yeah.
board, because I wrote on it, Ehab, I was with Positively Arsenal at the time,
Hmm.
and I wrote a piece saying, "Good for you. You stood up to these people, stand behind your manager." But they did within a year. And this happened. We're speculating here, but we're
Yeah,
trying to connect the dots. In 2018, the Kroenkes took over. Remember
uh,
this.
yeah,
2018, and Josh says, we started spending in 2018. We
yeah.
didn't spend a dime before. And I want to give my colleague and friend Blackburn George credit for making this point. Why would this Kroenkes spend money to benefit shareholders, other shareholders, when they wanted them out?
True.
George, George was perceptive, made this point weeks and months ago. Thank you, George. Wherever you are right now. Yes, go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, exactly what you're saying. They thought they've taken over, but for Arsene Wenger to break a contract,
Yes,
something must have happened. It's not like, and he was at the club for 22 years,
correct.
and he announced he's leaving 6 weeks before he was gone. And I
Mm.
mean, if you worked at the local Burger King, they would give you like 6 weeks notice.
Yes.
Like if you work at the cashier, you would see, okay, you have 6 weeks notice, and then you leave, or you have a month notice. And you cannot give somebody total control of the club for 22 years and announce him leaving 6 weeks before he did. Now people would say, oh, they started planning his departure months before, but I don't see it because all the people who came in in this era has left. They brought in Sven Mislintat,
Missing that, right.
and he was gone. They brought in
Don, the
this
Don, the Don, the Don.
Don Raul, yeah, and he's gone now.
Yeah.
Ivan Gazidis is
He's
gone.
gone. Well, he was there, but he
Uh,
didn't last long after. Mhm.
Yeah, this Hus Fahmi, Hussein Fahmi is
Yes.
gone.
Yes.
Jens Lehmann, he's gone too. Dick Law is gone.
Well, the
Everybody,
entire Wenger entire team, I think it was like 15 or so people, they went. I mean, that goes without saying.
yeah, especially Vic Akers. I mean, Vic Akers is the most accomplished Arsenal manager in history because he won with the
Women.
youth and the women.
Yes, for
And
years.
yeah, yeah, and he just decided to leave. And this is just everybody left, and they decided, okay, we're gonna rebuild. Now everything that happened ever since Wenger left, we deserve it because we did not because, oh, you did this to my guy, you deserve to die. No, 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 it's not that. I always tell people Wenger had to leave at some point. He was, I think, 70 or 69 when he left. How
69. So
long?
he's now he's what, 75 this
74 or
72,
something.
74. Okay, it's 3 years
I mean, how
now.
much longer would you expect him to be a
Yeah.
manager? Like, three,
Hmm.
4, 5 years. Then what?
Hmm.
We save Wenger until he's dead or drops dead on the sideline. This is not the way it's gonna happen. Father Time is undefeated, and what you have to do is he has to get out of here, out of there at one time. But there has to be an exit strategy, and there has never been an exit strategy. And everything that's happened to us, we deserve it because we didn't have an exit strategy to move from Wenger. We did not. We should have brought somebody like Mikel Arteta, or Fredrik Ljungberg,
Oh,
or
yes.
anybody, or Patrick Vieira, and
Hmm.
make him an assistant to Wenger for 2 years, a first assistant. And
You said that often, that,
yeah,
transition to seamless, playing pretty much the same football as, Pep Pep and then
It's what
his
Barcelona does. It's
yeah,
what Barcelona
Barcelona
does.
did. You know what? The guy that took over from Pep and he died. What's his name?
But
Tito. Yeah,
Tito,
Tito. Yeah,
Tito. I mean,
that's a
he saw
perfect
this.
example of a seamless transition because Tito just played the same football.
The
Because
thing, the
Tito was
thing
his
is,
assistant for years.
no, no. The thing is, and this is what people actually they have examples right in front of them, and they don't look at it. There was Frank Rijkaard at Barcelona, and
Mhm.
he brought Barcelona back from a very dark times after Louis van Gaal was there. They didn't do well. The football was dead. Then he came in, and he Frank Rijkaard that did a lot of good work. And I remember the first time when they had Ronaldinho and Deco when they beat Real Madrid 3-0,
Mhm.
and this was like a big win. This was a huge win, and it was capped off by an amazing Ronaldinho goal. And this was like, okay, this team is coming. This team is about to show up.
Mhm.
What they did after that, when Rijkaard left, they moved up the Barcelona B coach, which is Pep.
Right.
And Pep had been at the club at that time, had been at the club for more than 15 years. He went to Italy, played a couple of years in Italy, and came back after he retired. But he played for Johan Cruyff. He played there, and he came back. Now after Pep, they had this amazing team, one of the best teams ever assembled, and Pep leaves, and he puts in his assistant, which is Tito, and Tito had no experience, but the system already ran itself. So all he had to do was be smart, and he was smart, and he
Right.
won the league with the highest total points in history. And then after that, Tito, rest his soul, had died, and they moved to Luis Enrique, who's also a guy who was raised up on a Barcelona system, who worked with them, who managed the lower teams. It took him time because he for a year or two he went away and got some experience somewhere else. I think Valencia or
Some team in.
Sevilla. I
Mhm.
forgot.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
I. Yeah.
and he came back and they had success with him. Won their second treble with him. You know, this the league, the cup, and the Champions League. And then after that, Barcelona decided to improvise, and it hasn't gone right ever since.
Well, there's more to it, and of course, well, the financial mismanagement, the restrictions on transfers,
True.
and the overspending, and the Catalonians thinking that they can get away with anything, and that is part of Barcelona's problem. But we didn't do the point you're making is that we didn't do a proper transition. Let's go
Yeah,
back to the point where we're making.
yeah. We didn't do a proper transition, and we deserve all the losses and the heartbreak and the eighth and 10th and 17th and scrambling around mid table. We deserve all that because we did not plan it right. It's not something that fell upon us because God hates us, and this is what we should have done.
But
Now,
Ehab, we have
mm,
this, we have a group in our an element in our fan base would want to say that say, oh, it's all Wenger's fault, that he's the one who didn't do the transition. But I will remind, I'll comment to people, go and watch Josh's interview. He said at 2018, when we took over, we decided to go in a different direction. And he said,
yeah,
we may have made some mistakes. We made some big transfers, which he's alluding to Pepe. Pepe.
yeah,
What's the boy's name?
Pepe, 72 million,
Yeah,
the biggest.
72 million. Pepe, you know what?
Yeah,
Right? And he alluded to it. No, he didn't allude to it. He said it explicitly. And then we decided in this year to make a sudden, to change the policy and the direction. And we needed to get younger. And we need to go with a young coach. And I think that he might have something, but it took him 3 years to figure that one out. Your
yeah.
thoughts on that?
Still, we're not out of the woodwork. We just because we put together a winning streak, it doesn't mean that this is how good we are. They we are a better team than last year.
Mhm.
But last year we deserved to be 12th. We played as good as 12th.
Mhm.
but we overachieved. We People don't remember that we had a 6 game run at the end of the season where it took us to eighth. We were not fourth and dropped to eighth. We were not.
Right. We
Yeah,
were like,
yeah, we were not fourth and had a couple of bad games, and people started playing better. Other teams started playing better, and we fell to eighth. We were 11th, and we were playing as good as 11th. And then we had a 6 point when nobody gave a damn. We had an easier schedule. We had we played teams that really didn't give it. I remember playing. Was it Crystal Palace or a team that was already relegated? I forgot what team was it. I think West Brom. West Brom. Yeah,
West
we played
Brom.
West
Yes,
Brom.
yes. You remember that West Brom game was critical because if we didn't win it, we would have dropped like a stone. I remember that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think West Brom were like on a 5 game loss, and they needed to win to stay. But everybody
Yes.
thought they were gone. There's another team I forgot. I think
By the way,
Huddersfield.
and people were hoping, were happy that Ainsley Maitland-Niles was cup tied, not cup tied, but you know what I mean. He was,
Oh yeah,
yeah, in the West Brom game. Can you
yeah,
imagine an Arsenal team playing West Brom and then being happy that an ex-player is going to play? But keep going.
yeah.
Yeah,
This is amazing.
that's how bad it was. People quick easily forget. But anyway, I think you're making a very good point
Yeah,
there.
yeah, but now we are better. We are as good as sixth, as seventh. This is good. We deserve to be between sixth and eighth for the football that we play. But still, this is not Arsenal. Remember, we came. Forget the last 2 years because they don't mean anything. They had their own special circumstances. Everybody has to remember something that we were not satisfied with first, second, third, or fourth for 14 years, and winning the FA Cup and staying in the Champions League and staying in the Europa League and getting to the knockout stages of the Champions League. Nobody was satisfied with that. People were angry because of that. Oh, we lost 5-1 to Bayern, and
You have just a
yeah,
moment here. Good friend of ours, H. Layman's,
yeah,
and somebody else took on a very big blogger, and I jumped in the fray towards the end. This blogger said, that we were failing, but then he's rationalizing it by saying it's not failing. In other words, he's saying being in the top four of the Champions League and be losing to Bayern 5-1. But by the way, when they came to our place, we beat them 2-1. And everybody remembers that? A huge night at the Emirates.
yeah.
Right? And he said, "Oh, we're failing." In other words, endorsing the Wenger out thing, but saying, "Oh no, I wasn't there."
True.
And this is the point. It ties into a little bit of what we're saying.
What people were furious when
Mhm.
we beat Milan 3-0 and didn't
Mhm.
qualify. We beat Monaco 2-0 at their home. We didn't qualify. We beat Bayern 2-0 in Munich and we did not qualify. And people were furious afterwards because
And now,
we
we
could not,
want to be in Europa.
yeah, we did
We're
not
dying to be in
advance.
Europa.
And the thing that kills me is the argument. What an achievement being in the Champions League. Why do we play in it if we're gonna get to the first round and lose and go home? What good is it? I mean, what
Well,
the
we
heck?
never went to the lose in the first round. We always got into the round of 16 at least, and sometimes to the
Yeah,
quarterfinals. You
and
assholes.
you, you, this is like making. Why do you want to go to the World Cup? Or why do you want to go to the Olympics? You're not
Exactly.
gonna win it anyway. I mean, this
Exactly.
is stupid. This is stupid. And you go to and
Ask
the thing is,
Italians who didn't. Ask Italians who didn't. Is it Italians who didn't make the last World Cup? It's like a major national disgrace. Go ahead.
true, true. This is Holland and Italy didn't make like the two one two in the last two World Cups. But
Yes.
what we're talking about is now people are looking at the team now and it's improving and it's getting better. And I've said it since day one. I said Arteta's going to need 3 years. He's going to put together 200 games under his belt,
Yeah, you
and
did.
just to get better because this is the rational thing. This is the thing that makes sense. Now the problem with Arteta is, the problem with the people is that they are living on hope. If you want to tell people how's eighth or sixth or 12th or the way that we are today is better than the days of Wenger, they will tell you that we have hope. It looks like on the in the near future it will keep getting better. And just this is not how football works, people. Manchester United looked much better last year. They were second, and they were a good team, and they created so many chances. They looked always dangerous. They kept the manager, they kept all the players. They got back Jesse Lingard, who was one of the players of the season last year,
Of
and
what
they
at West
added,
Ham.
yeah, they added Rafael Varane, and they added
Jordan Sancho,
Cristiano Ronaldo and Jordan Sancho.
who
They
they don't
made
play.
so great moves in the transfer market, and now look at them. They are struggling to beat
They
Atlanta.
look they look
They
horrible.
they look like us last year. We
Yes.
are we are above them right now,
Mm.
and you don't know. You never know what's going to happen in football. You make one move that your manager cannot adjust to, and everything goes down quickly. And by the time you recover, you're not up, and you get back to eighth or seventh or sixth, and you think, oh, it's a step forward. Next, you know, he's been here for 5 years. Does he get an extension or no? And we haven't won anything. We haven't gone anywhere. We haven't done anything. And this is how football goes. You can never.
But
Uh,
Ehab, I want to stop you right there. I know you keep making this point, but that is the amazing thing about Wenger for the
yeah,
22 years because he was able to sustain that level, and that is what Sir Alex is saying. You assholes, this
even
is a man that kept you in the top echelons. Do you understand how hard it is
nobody.
to do? It
Yeah,
is. Look at the struggles of Ole, as you say.
yeah,
So much
true.
money spent, and they look like they're going backwards.
Yeah, they will get better. They will get better. If it has to work out at the end, but it
Oh
will be at
yes, there
an
it with
expense.
or without Ole, it will get better. That's my fear. Those who are thinking that they and I was telling George and the group and the me and my listeners, there's no way that the Glaziers are going to let them fall out of Europe. I mean, that money is what underlies the dividends. I'm not saying
Yeah,
that's the only sole source, but those people are pocketing 20 odd million pounds every year in dividends from Manchester United. Where the
yeah.
hell do you think that comes from? Go ahead,
But
my
the,
friend.
the way City and Liverpool are running, Manchester United have no hope. Soon they're going to have no hope whatsoever to win the league. And this
Correct.
means 10 years with no league title after they used to win it every other year.
Correct.
And they spend so much money. So there's always an effect. Even Wenger, just so people would understand how hard it is to keep winning.
Yes.
Even Wenger in 2006, when we got to the CL finals, I had a I had a ticket, and it turned out to be a fake ticket. It
Mhm.
wasn't a real one, and they called me and said, "Oh, don't go, because this is not a real ticket." So you will get into trouble if you do. There has been a problem, and somebody counterfeit some tickets. So anyway, and I was disappointed, and I thought, "Oh, just fuck it, I'll just go next time."
You
And
didn't go to Paris?
I went to Paris, but I didn't
Okay.
get to the stadium.
Okay.
I watched it at the hotel, at the bar at the hotel, because
With a, with a with a fake ticket.
with the fake ticket, I just I watched it on a big screen in the hotel, and there was a bunch of at the hotel. There was a bunch of Spanish people that and they everybody's supporting Barcelona, and and just watching them just celebrate. And you go and walk in the streets, and there are these Barcelona supporters just waving flags and happy, and it's horrible. It was a horrible day. But then you think, okay, this is a good team. We are building something for the future, and we are going to be here again. I'm gonna go next time,
Mhm.
and it never happened. If you look at our team, one of the greatest rebuilding stories in history of football is how Wenger rebuilt the team after the Invincibles, because we didn't feel it. We just woke up one day and we had Cesc Fabregas, Nasri, Arshavin, Ruzicki, Diaby. they came out of nowhere. Walcott, Eduardo, they
Yes.
just it seemed like we, his,
Magic. It was looked so easy.
yeah, just they came out of nowhere. They just,
Yes.
we made some small minor signings here and there, and pop, we had a great team. Sanya, Krishe, Kusiangni, and Raymond was still there, and and then Chesney came out of nowhere, and I thought, okay, this is going to be a good team for a long time, for another 10,
Yes.
15 years. It's going to be the
Yes.
same again, and this
Yes.
team was
Yeah, they
garbage.
only yeah. But and of course Wenger didn't wasn't going to spend with his budget. He had Almunia. You remember he did the Almunia layman stick. But these, I have I gotta tell people, I have very little respect, almost negligible respect for a lot of these prominent fans that are now big on social media because they run this thing down.
Yeah.
Wenger had a little negative net spend. He didn't. Josh now admits he is spending. And you know what I am amazed by? Because Blackburn George, I know you're going to be watching this when we put this up. Here's what Josh Kroenkes said. Josh said, I think I can compete with Chelsea and Manchester City. That's what he said in the interview. He said, I don't care. I'm going to spend. I said,
Yeah.
what? I'm watching this 40-odd-year-old young Turk saying that he's going to wager his family's fortune against the investment fund of an oil Emirates, who, by the way, oil prices are going up, so they're going to get richer,
Yeah,
and
sure.
against a metals magnate from Russia. He is going to go toe to toe with them on spending. That's why he gave 150 million pounds. So this is what
Exactly.
Manchester United is doing and not succeeding, people. These guys are they. I am an old soldier. Look at the gray hairs on my thing. But are you out of your freaking mind? What gives you? What is Josh thinking? I want you to go back to this. Josh has some delusions of grandeur that, in my opinion, and we're speculating here, contribute to the Wenger said, are you out of your mind? Are you running an
He has
experiment
money.
with the club I built for 22 of my best freaking years? Ehab, tell
He
me.
ha-
Am
he
I
has.
out of
The thing is
whack?
with Josh, he has the money. This is the problem. He
Yes,
has the
but
money.
dad's money cannot go up against the Emirates.
Yeah, but he has. I mean, he can spend 200 million a year. But thing is, at the end of the day, he has his own money. He has like him by himself is worth about $3 billion.
Really?
But yeah, apart from his dad and mom. But to have, of course, he got the money to start. Like when you say Donald Trump is worth 10 billion, he didn't just go out with 50 bucks in his jacket pocket and made 10
No, he got
billion.
his dad's money.
Yeah, this guy had like his dad gave him $1 billion and he made it 3 billion. So the thing is, he has these people have money. He can spend from his own money. He can spend from his dad's money or mom's money. But the problem with this is it's not a sustainable way to
Of
succeed.
course.
Because look at our team. Our team is packed. It's so freaking packed. So many players in every position, and still we are fighting for a European spot now. And what's going to happen is, imagine, have you seen? Imagine if Saka or Emmett Smith Rowe, if Emmett Smith Rowe goes down with injury,
Yeah.
it all unravels. It goes down.
I was
Now,
telling George, and I don't know if you watched it. I said the minute Lacazette came off against what you may call it, who we played again?
Watford.
Watford.
Yeah,
I saw a drop in our play.
yeah.
So the
It was-
minute he goes down injured, there's something that, because our revival has coincided with Lacazette, this new formation. So what you're saying, and I'm agreeing with you, Saka or Smith Rowe, and you're in a lot of grief. And I'm not even, you don't even have to go there. If we play West Ham today, the way
Oh.
they are playing now, Saka and Smith Rowe won't have any room to operate, my friend. I saw how they trap these wingers. They
Yeah, but
trap them.
they're great players.
Go ahead.
They're great players. They will manage. The thing is,
They'll manage, but they will be trapped. They won't have the freedom to operate. Ehab, I'm telling you, this is not, you watch football more than I have. You have a more different eye. There are
yeah,
people who are planning for you.
yeah, yeah. West Ham at the time being will kill us unless we're lucky. But this is not. I don't want to go there. I
Yeah,
just
let's
want to
not go
say
there. But I'm trying to say to people, do not get carried away. That's the point you're
yes.
making.
You cannot spend all this money and buy all those players and make all those changes and rely on hype on next year and hope and hype. You have to have something solid. You must have something solid if you want to spend 550 million in 3 years, 3.5 years. you should you should have something solid.
Right.
And this is just without 200-300 million that we wasted on nothing, like big salaries not that we paid for people who didn't play, contracts like William, who came and went and pocketed $13 million. All this money. It just all this money you have to have. I mean, you had to have something solid, and this is why it takes us back to the transition from Wenger. And for me, and I'm not Wenger, and I feel the build up after Wenger was personal. It was not. It was not. We want to take what this guy, who has been here for 22 years, let's say the biggest critic of Wenger would agree that he has some pluses and minuses.
Correct.
You know, he has a good system. He has great stability, and the system and the club itself. On the pitch and off the pitch, there's
Right.
great stability. There's a class of dealing with everything. Okay, if I come after Wenger, or if I take over the club, I would say, okay, I'm gonna fire Wenger, but I'm gonna keep some of the things he brought here. Okay, we are going to keep our stability. We are going to keep our system. We are going to keep our class, and this is how we're gonna do it. But it felt personal. It
Yeah, but
felt
we don't
we don't
we
want
don't
this old
we no
guy.
longer play with a number 10.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It looked like, okay, we don't want this old guy. I'm gonna tear down everything he built, and I'm
Right.
gonna build something, from zero, from scratch. That I'm gonna, contribute to myself. And the only people who still say that you cannot separate us from Wenger. I mean, if
Well,
our best players were under, like Chaka, Saka, and Smith Rowe were bought by Wenger.
they were in the yeah.
Lacazette was bought by Wenger. Those kids are gonna stay a long time with us, apart from Chaka and Laka. And those kids are gonna stay a long time with us. Um, there are people who want to get rid of all the Wenger players, but it's. I mean, if you
Well,
remove the two Wenger players on the team or the three Wenger players on the team, everybody will suffer. It's still
well,
tied to
I'll tell
Wenger.
you, Ainsley Maitland-Niles was a Wenger player. I went back to transfer market, my friend.
Yes.
And Ketia was a Wenger player.
It's
Just
the
by the
thing is
way,
the thing
we
is you
sold off
people.
Willock. I looked at the 17-18 team, and you know what also struck me?
Mhm.
That so all the young kids were Wenger started bringing them in, including some other ones who didn't make it, McGuane and company. By the way, a guy called Cohen Bramall, he's gone. But
No,
that's
I
so
like
so
that guy.
Wenger would bring players, and some of them made it, some didn't. People, that's management. But
Mhm.
what struck me before we go, because we're running up against time, and I think people
Okay.
probably tired of us now.
Mhm.
Wenger had a negative net spend in the last year of negative 7.5 million euros. Sold off 170 million and only brought 175 million and brought 170 something. This is negative 7 million euros. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
170 odd was his sales, and he bought 170 in players. That includes Mkhitaryan, that includes the whole lot, right?
yeah. True.
And yet they're expecting miracles from him. And they turn around 1 year after and splash $72 million on Pepe. Don't you see? I mean, Can't
Yeah,
you see
it's they
why
just wanted
Wenger would
to.
be, even he will never admit it and will say, I support the club. We'll be like, what the fuck is going on here?
What they said, it's personal. They would just wanted to destroy everything. Although he's a bigger than life, so he's
Mhm.
still gonna have the effect on the club for a long time. But they, especially he built the stadium that we play in. I mean, I know maybe in a couple of years, Josh would come with the idea of, oh, let's renovate the stadium, and he will just give it a complete facelift so they don't recognize it from the Wenger days. But the thing is, this is, I hate in business or in anything or in the
Yes.
club itself to do anything personal. And Josh has taken this personally, and that's why, for me, this is why Wenger is not coming back. He
Mm.
might come back for a game where just like a
When?
symbol of
When?
me.
That's a question.
They will not give him a statue, at least unless he
Well,
retires or
he
dies.
doesn't care for it. He doesn't want to be associated with it. He's not gonna come. They can't put a statue up and the man doesn't come for the unveiling. Are you out of your mind?
He's a classy guy. He will come for it because of Arsenal, not because this is a 130-year
Yeah.
old club. It's
Yes.
not it's not it's not the it was not since 2012 since or 13 when Josh was here. This is one not when the club started. So he's gonna come if they decide to name something because he's a respectable guy. He respects himself, he respects the club, he respects others. But what they do is just it seems so personal, and they hurt the club for personal reasons.
Yes.
and
Yes.
and and there's no guarantees it's going to work. I love that we are on a 10 game non-beaten streak, but there's no guarantees whatsoever that this is going to work. And if it doesn't work, then where do we go from here? Do we keep spending and spending and spending? We will never get a squad bigger than the one that we have. We have good players who cannot get off the bench, and they come in and they perform like
Correct.
Lacazette and Ainsley
Maitland
Maitland
Niles.
Niles last
Yes.
game.
Yes.
We have players on loan like Saliba.
And Ketia can't get up a game.
Yeah,
And
we
he's a
have players on loan that we cannot buy so much more many more players to improve us. And our manager will learn little by little. Like in a year or two, he's gonna be like by the end of this year, next year, he's going to, if he's a fast learner, we are going to be talking about top four. But the thing is you don't build this in a personal way because the money that was spent, and I always make this point, if they have ended this in a professional way with the most professional, classiest person probably in history of the club. They would have made it much easier for the fans. They would have made it much easier for the club. They would have saved themselves money if they just ended it the right way and transitioned from Wenger the right way.
well.
We would have saved ourselves money. We would have stayed competitive because, as I always say, it's easier to go from first, second, third to fourth to first, than to go from eighth to first, which is
Sure.
what we are building from after 3.5 years. So I don't think Wenger is gonna come back. I don't think he's gonna listen to anything that they say. I think he's too old to manage somewhere else. Who
Oh yeah.
he would have taken the Newcastle job had he were he given the chance. Uh, but I think he's 74, 75. He's not
Yeah,
coming
yeah,
back.
it's just too much. You can see the lines. You can see the road. You can see the toll on Wenger. I mean, you see the pictures. I mean, it's an aging
Yeah,
man.
and it's draining. You have to travel 3 games a week. You
Yes,
have to travel every weekend, and in the middle of the weekend, you have to watch hours and hours.
was of
And Wenger is not going to half-ass it. He's not going to go in and not be 100% committed. And you
no.
can feel in his last interview that he has regretted a little bit spending that time at Arsenal, all this time at Arsenal,
Yes,
and
because there are big opportunities, and if you're human, you'll say, "Man, I could have gone to
true,
Madrid and win the Champions League." But
true,
he says, "I gave my life to this club. I
yeah,
gave everything to this club. I
what,
22 years. I
true.
didn't. You know." Anyway, Ehab, we've gone on. We've nattered on. I
Okay.
for one agree with you. It's all I think it was personal. I think um and that this transition and the price we're paying is steep. The issue is that most people don't want to discuss this. They want to worry about transfers. They want to worry about forgetting forgetting history, forgetting what this man did for us. And I thought that with this international break, something that deserves to be discussed. You know us, you know me. I'm not going to shirk away from discussing the tough issues. I'm not going to engage in the hype. I'm too old for this. Seeing it all with you and I George, and even many of the some of our associates in uncensored are younger, but they're seeing through the hype, the PR. Last 2 weeks is a massive PR. Interview here, Amy Lawrence trying to make Arteta look human. Okay, Amy, you did succeed in that. Thank you, Ehab. Thank you very much.
Sorry for going on and rambling on.
Yes. I think we are onto something. I don't know. One day, Ehab, we'll have a better tell-all book than this, but this one here doesn't tell us shit. We'll find out why Wenger will have nothing to do with Arsenal official. Thank you, Mike.